I think whenever we're afraid of letting someone go, it isn't necessarily the person that we're afraid of losing, but more so we are afraid that we will never be chosen again, right? To us, their presence in our lives means that we're finally being chosen, means that we're finally being seen, means that we're finally being acknowledged, even if that comes at the cost of our peace, even if that comes at the cost of our joy, even if that comes at the cost of our self-love, right? See, imagine if you were starving, right? Imagine if you were absolutely starving and I came to you with a plate of food that is poisoned or rotten or whatever, right? If you were absolutely starving, then you would eat that food without even a second thought, right? And in the same way, you are willing to accept love that is unhealthy. You are willing to accept love that is toxic. You are willing to accept love that is draining simply because you believe that you are starved or deprived of love, right? But the only reason you believe that you are starved or deprived of love is because you deny yourself love. Is because you fail to give yourself the love that you need. And so you go looking for that love in all the wrong places. You fail to choose yourself. So you are relying and waiting on someone else to choose you. So you accept treatment that is toxic. You accept people in your life who drain you. You accept people in your life who take away from your joy, take away from your peace, take away from your self-love, simply because you fail to give yourself what you need. So you believe that you have to settle for whatever anyone gives to you, right? See, here's the thing. You can never be devoid or lacking of love because you are the source of love. I'm gonna say that again. You can never be lacking or devoid of love because ultimately you are the source of love, right? And when I say that, I don't say that lightly. I genuinely mean it, right? Think of a child that has come into this world, right? And think of how much love, how much joy, how much laughter that child has, right? Now, as the child begins to be in the world more, the child essentially becomes more of the world. And especially if that child has certain people, certain influences around the child who constantly tells the child how unworthy the child is, right? And the child begins to go through certain experiences and challenges or circumstances or whatever. Little by little, that child loses a piece of the love, of the joy, of the peace, of the laughter that it once embodied, right? And then the child believes that he or she is lacking of all of that. And then the child goes out into the world trying to get someone else to give he or she what they already possess in the first place, right? The child begins to lose sight of the love that is within he or she, right? The child begins to lose touch of the peace, of the joy, of the laughter that it once embodied, and it begins to go out into the world and seek out other people to give he or she what was already there to begin with, right? So we came into this world as the source of love. We came into this world with, the source of joy, the source of laughter, the source of everything that we need. But as a result of being in this world, we have lost sight of that. But I think we need to recognize that we can never be separated from this love. We can never be cut off from this love. It's about recognizing that all the love, all the joy, everything that we need is already within us, and we can't be separated from it. But when we're constantly trying to outsource these things in the world and in someone else, we fail to go within ourselves, truly get in touch with ourselves, and recognize that we are the source. Recognize that anything else that we're expecting from someone else, we already possess. Recognizing that we don't need to rely on other people to choose us, to acknowledge us, to validate us, because we can do those things for ourselves. And as a matter of fact, we are the only ones that can do those things for ourselves. No one can truly love you into loving yourself. No one's love can ever be good enough for you if your love isn't good enough for you. No one can make you feel seen if within yourself you don't feel seen. No one's acknowledgement can be enough to make you feel acknowledged if you have not acknowledged yourself, right? Everything comes from us, and everything that we need is our responsibility to give to ourselves. Everything that we need. We live in a world in which people are constantly trying to get something from someone else, right? Right? This is how we live as human beings. We feel so empty within ourselves. We feel so unfulfilled. And so we're always trying to get something from the next person, right? And then the person that you're trying to get something from to make you feel fulfilled is trying to get something from you so they can feel fulfilled as well. So we're in this cycle of people who feel as if they need someone else to fill some void within them. And if two people are relying on each other to fill a void that only they can fill, then that only results in unhealthy relationships. That only results in toxicity, right? That only results in drama and a constant conflict. It is when you recognize that you first have to find that wholeness, have to find that fulfillment, have to find that love within yourself first, before you can truly have something healthy with someone else, right? It's about recognizing that you have to first choose yourself instead of relying on someone else to come into your life and choose you. You have to. See, when I look back at my life, right? And when I look back at everyone that I was afraid of letting go or losing, it really had absolutely nothing to do with them per se, right? It had everything to do with what I was afraid of losing, or what I was afraid that I lacked, that they were the source of in my life, right? And what I mean by that is, if I thought that this person in my life, or if I thought that my life was lacking peace, and this person, in a sense, brought peace into my life, I thought that losing them would mean that I would lose the source of my peace. Or if I thought that my life lacked joy, right? And this person, I identify this person as a source of joy in my life, then to me, losing that person would feel like I'm losing my source of joy, right? And the same thing goes for validation or my self-love. If I thought that I was lacking in self-love, and I identify this person as a source of me feeling good about myself, then I would feel like letting go of this person would mean that I was losing that validation, or losing me feeling good about myself, right? You get my point, right? But I had to get to a point in which I recognized that no one else couldn't be the source of anything in my life. No one could fill a void that I was yet to fill. No one could give me something that I would yet to give myself. I was yet to give myself, right? No one could. Temporarily, it might seem like they were filling that void. But at the end of the day, if someone's absence takes away something from you, then you never possessed it to begin with. And so if losing them means that I lost my peace, if losing them means that I lost my joy, if losing them means that I no longer felt good about myself, then I never possessed all those things to begin with. Right? They were on loan to me. They were temporary. They were fickle. And I think that's no way to live as a human being. You don't want to go through life being at the mercy of someone else, right? And what I mean by that is, you don't want to go through life constantly relying on someone else to give you something that you believe you lack. You don't want someone else to be your source of joy. You don't want someone else to be your source of peace. You don't want someone else to be the source of validation or you feeling good about yourself. That's no way to live. That's not what it means to be human. Right? The only way to live, and a life that is well lived, is a life in which you are the source of everything that you need. Because becoming the source or recognizing that you already are the source of everything you need is absolute freedom. It is absolute freedom. Do you know how good it feels to wake up every day and your peace isn't dependent on someone else? Do you know how good it feels to wake up every day and your life is filled with joy, irrespective of whether or not that person that you believe is supposed to be your source of joy is in your life? Do you know how good it feels to wake up every day and to love yourself, to feel good about yourself, even if there's no one there or no one else there to love you? Do you know how good that feels? Once you have yourself, you have someone. Once you have yourself, you have everything. But if you're not in possession of yourself, if the relationship with yourself is tainted, then you are constantly going to feel empty. You are constantly going to look to someone else to fill some void that they simply cannot fill. And it's not their responsibility to fill. They can't do that for you. Think about the fact that we came into this world alone. Right? Even if you're a twin, you came into this world alone because, right, you can't have two babies at the same time. At least I don't think that's possible. Right? I don't know much, but I don't think that's possible. You still came into this world by yourself, single. Right? And when you die, you're going to depart this earth on your own. So at the end of the day, why are we relying on someone else to be something instead of being that thing for ourselves first and foremost? Why don't we give ourselves what we need? Why don't we choose ourselves so we're not waiting to be chosen? Right? And I was thinking this to myself the other day, right? People oftentimes talk about the chosen one, being the chosen one, right? Oftentimes you hear people in the internet talk about being the chosen one. Do you really want to know what the chosen one is? The chosen one is someone who chooses themselves. I'm going to say that again. The chosen one is a person who chooses themselves. That's all a chosen one is. That's literally what he is. There's no one else to choose you. Right? No one is, in a sense, a special person because there's someone out there that chooses them. No. A chosen one is a person who chooses themselves. And if you have not chosen yourself, then you're not a chosen one. And relying on someone else to choose you doesn't make you a chosen one. You have to choose yourself. Right? That's all this game of life is. Right? This game of life is as a game of self-love. It's a game of self-worth. It's a game of self-validation, right? That's literally all it is. That's all it is. And everything stems from that. Every single thing stems from that, right? Even when we talk about something such as the law of attraction, right? Oftentimes, there are certain misconceptions when people talk about the law of attraction, right? A lot of people believe that once you get to this point in which you're high vibrational, quote unquote, right? Once you get to this high vibrational place, then things of a lower frequency aren't going to come towards you, right? And that's simply not true. Because even things of a lower vibration are attracted to things of a high vibration, right? What happens with the law of attraction is that as your awareness and your self-love, which are really the major driving forces behind the law of attraction, right? As your awareness and your self-love begins to expand, not only are you going to be aware of what is not for you, of what is unhealthy, of what is toxic, right? But because you have this heightened self-love, because you love yourself, you're not going to allow those things to come into your life, right? And even if they're in your life temporarily, because you love yourself, you're not going to allow them to be there. You are going to let them go. And once you let them go, that leaves space for what is for you to come into your life. That leaves space for what is aligned to come into your life, right? That's literally all the law of attraction is. Being aware and loving yourself enough to walk away from what is not for you, to walk away from misalignment, to walk away from toxicity, to walk away from drama. And in that walking away or that letting go, what is for you will be aligned with you and it will find you. That's all it is. But if you're not willing to let what is not for you go, if you're not willing to walk away, if you're not willing to choose yourself, so you're not waiting for someone else to choose you, you are constantly going to be in situations and circumstances which really are not for you, which really aren't aligned, which constantly take away from you, right? If you're not willing to walk away. But that person that you're probably holding on to, that person that you're afraid of letting go, you're afraid of letting them go simply because you are afraid that you will never be chosen again. But once you recognize that you have to choose yourself first, and when you choose yourself, you don't have this need to be chosen. That is when what is aligned, what is healthy, what is for you will find you. That is when you will come into alignment with what is for you. So don't wait on someone else to choose you. And don't believe that you're not worthy or good enough of being loved by someone else or whatever. You are worthy of that love. Right? You are worthy of that love. But that begins with giving yourself that love first. That begins with acknowledging yourself first. That begins with choosing yourself first. Instead of waiting around for someone else to come into your life and choose you. Because that's really no way to live. You don't want to live being at the mercy of someone else. That's absolutely no way to live, right? No way at all. Greatest freedom that I've found within myself was when I began to give myself what I needed. And even when things and situations and circumstances and relationships didn't go the way I wanted them to go, I was still at peace with myself. I'm not saying there wasn't any sort of sadness or disappointment there. It was, because I'm human. But at the end of the day, my world didn't feel like it came crashing down. And I didn't lose myself because I found myself within my own love. I'm going to say that again. When things and circumstances didn't go my way, relationship didn't go my way, I didn't lose myself because I already found myself within my own love. And to be immersed in my own love, right? To be absolutely within my own love is where I found all the freedom, right, that I truly desired. Is where I found everything that I was always searching for. Being in the presence of my own love is what it means to be human. Being in your own love. And I had to come to a place in which I truly recognize that, right? So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here with me. Probably rambled on longer than I should. But don't be afraid to let someone go once you know they're not aligned with you and they're not for you. Because we can bullshit ourselves how we want, but our intuition, our inner knowing knows when something isn't aligned. But you have to trust yourself enough to know that letting go of what is not for you is really only making space for what is. Right? Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here with me. Take care of yourselves. Give yourselves a bit of love every day, like I always say. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.